There was even a case in Iganga, and then the two Chinese, who are trying to go into Congo illegally. When they were brought back, they tested positive. The one of Iganga had gone to Kisumu in Kenya. There is a young child whose father had gone to Kisumu. And then the one of Ajumani, he was in the habit of going to the border with South Sudan, to a place called Elegu, which is a border point. So, however, the original 9, I think about 8 of them were in good condition. Their temperatures have gone down. It is only one who still has temperature going up and coming down. As you have heard, we are willing to get more reports of scattered cases in other parts of the country. Therefore, we are happy that we took the other big steps in the past. We closed the schools in time. You can imagine the problem we would be in now if the schools were still open, which took away the 15 million people to go home. We closed the churches and the mosques, and we took the other measures which I announced the very first time. Given the fact that we are now getting a few more cases, we need to take additional measures. We don't want to wait until really many people are infected. You remember when I was talking to you the other day, I was telling you that the remaining danger points are 2 or 3. Danger point number 1 is still public transport. People moving in shared vehicles. People who don't know one another, they just meet in a minibus or a taxi or a bus. Even borders. Although they carry less people, but those two people are close to one another. We have therefore, and this enables people to move from one end of the country to the other end. The person who went to Kisumu and back to Jinja did not walk to Kisumu. He traveled by fast means. That's why, therefore, the government has decided to suspend for 14 days now all public transport. And this means all taxis, all coasters, minibuses, all buses, all passenger trains, all tuk-tukus, the tricycles, and all the boda-bodas. These all are suspended. Why? Because we don't want to minimize movement. Therefore, the only vehicle that will be moving will be private vehicles, but they should not carry more than 3 people, including the driver. Therefore, even a private vehicle parked with family members is not allowed. That's why all those functions should be postponed. Family, people going home for Easter, all that. Wait. Let's first get out of this danger. Now, the other vehicles that will continue moving will be the trucks, the lorries, delivering cargo. Don't use the lorries to transport people. What we are struggling with here is passengers. Abasabaze, kyekizibu. So the trucks will be carrying cargo, bananas, whatever, delivery vans, pickups, all strictly for food and other essential commodities. Even the boda-bodas, if they want to carry food, we have no problem. Boda-bodas can carry bunches of bananas. They can carry, the tuk-tukus can carry cargo. Because bananas don't breathe. Because remember, this sickness goes through breathing. Through the nose and the mouth. So that's why we are targeting the human beings. So the trucks, the lorries should use our language, which we know well. The lorries, the minibuses, the pickups, even the boda-bodas and the tuk-tukus carrying goods are not a problem. They can continue, but not carry people, not carry passengers. Passengers would only move in private cars, and those should be not more than 3. The other vehicles that will continue moving will be the ambulances, of the Ministry of Health, then the vehicles of the security forces, the army, the police. Some of the institutional houses of the institutional vehicles. Some of the institutional vehicles, institutional meaning government vehicles, doing essential work. Vehicles for sanitary services, like the ones of the city council taking away the garbage, taking away Kasasiro. Those will be allowed to move. So this is the additional measure we have decided to take to discourage, to postpone, to cause people to postpone their unsafe journeys from one point to another point. The only people who can move safely, as I said, are those using private cars. But even those should not be more than 3, including the driver. So that is additional measure number 1. You remember the measures we started with were 13. Then we added another, I think 2 or 3. So we are now adding more. So you should total up these measures. Once we deal with public transport, then the other remaining big problem are the markets. The markets bring together a lot of people. I thank everybody. I have heard that they have tried to do everything possible to improve. They have cleaned up. People are washing hands. But you remember we said, in order to avoid this problem, be 4 meters from one another. Now, with markets, how do you maintain 4 meters when there are so many people? That's why for now, we wouldn't like to close the markets. But to cut out some changes. Therefore, measure number 2, additional measure, will be to the markets should only be now for selling foodstuffs. Only food. And what do we mean by food? Matoke, sweet potatoes, cassava, rice, beans, cowpeas, groundnuts, beef, chicken, fruits, vegetables, etc. Food, emere, cham. Therefore, trading in the markets, other non-food items is from now onward is suspended. The selling of clothes, the selling of necklaces, the selling of mobile phones, the selling of all those sandals, shoes, all those non-food items. Hold on. Hold on, you'll come back. But let's just, to create space, stay at home, let only the food people stay in the market. We think this will reduce numbers, and then they can be able to maintain what they call the social distance. I don't know why they call it social distance, because actually it is unsocial. Because you say tonsembera. So how can you call tonsembera social distance? They should call it either medical distance or whatever. So we think that by removing the non-food items and sellers from the market, it will reduce the numbers. Now, once we deal with the public transport and we deal with the market to some extent, the other area of human concentration are the offices, government offices. That's why each ministry should work out a plan of the essential staff that need to remain on duty. Take, for example, the Revenue Authority must remain on duty, because our goods are still coming from outside Uganda and coming into Uganda. Somebody needs to clear those goods, needs to collect the taxes. So they will have to sit down in the URA and see how many people are needed, maybe in a rotation. Some can work for some time and then go home, and others come and work. So you cannot say everybody go home with the government departments, because then the economy will shut down. So therefore, each department should work out the essential stuff that are needed to remain on duty. Even in the districts, the district officials can identify borders who can deliver food and other cargo to wherever it is needed. this crisis will teach us other methods of doing business. Because really here we are not saying that don't do business. No, but to do business without too much human movement. And especially using shared means of transport. This is what we are saying. However, even when you have your shared means of transport, like for instance, going to the supermarket, even if you have got your own vehicle, how many people should be allowed in the supermarket at the same time? This is not the other market. This is a supermarket, which is a high-class type. If there's too much overcrowding there, people entering, leaving, it may become a problem. So that's why, even for all these groups, it is better to use deliveries by few people. The bodabodas here don't have to say, we have nothing to do. No, they can change. Instead of carrying people, which causes risk, they can start carrying things from the supermarket to address number this, from the market to address number this, so that we have both. We have both business but also safety. So just really reorienting the way of doing business without exposure. In Kampala, companies would be identified and licensed to start doing this delivery business of borders. But I hope there will be no corruption here and bribery. And I want to know where there would be any limit. Because really that's not the main point. The main point is that if you move around goods, not people. So be careful about that point of, so it doesn't cause quarrels. They have refused me, they have allowed the other one. So you study that carefully. As long as they are not carrying people, they are carrying goods. Be careful. You don't have to be involved in the blocking this one and allowing the other one. Now, finally, now that we have got cases in other parts of Uganda other than Kampala and Entebbe, we have a system of getting samples from suspected people all the way to Entebbe for testing. there are teams even near the villages who survey, who do the surveillance, who do the monitoring. These inform trained people who are mainly at what they call hubs, but which are normally at the health center force. I hear there are 100 of such hubs in the whole of Uganda. Now there you have people who know how to take samples. And once they take the samples, they know how to send them to Entebbe. And they send them to Entebbe using poster buses. Those poster buses should not carry people. They only carry either mail, but now also they add on these samples. Now, the teams in the country may need transport to go to the villages where they hear danger. That's why therefore I'm directing all government vehicles in a district should be centralized, except the ones of the army and police. But the vehicle for agriculture, the vehicle for tsetse control, the vehicle for the magistrate, the vehicle for any government vehicle should be put at the district headquarters under the command of the district health officer, assisted maybe by a police officer or an army personnel, or whatever the arrangement, so that when they get information about a case, which they should go and collect, there should be no question of we can't get there because there is no vehicle, because there is no this. No, those vehicles will be there. And we are going to struggle to make sure that there is enough fuel for them. So therefore, countrymen, yesterday I wanted to quote to you a verse from the Bible, from the book of Isaiah. And I got this verse from a sheikh. Sheikh is the one who rang me and said there is a verse in the Bible here where there was danger. And the verse in the chapter. Isaiah 26, verse 20. Yes. It says, you go in your house, lock yourself in, and shut the door, and wait for the anger of the Lord to pass. You can read that, Isaiah 26, verse 20. So please, you people, when was Isaiah writing? It must be like 4,000 years ago. So what we are dealing with are not new things. They have been there in the past and they have been handled. The other day I was telling you about the smallpox epidemic